Hello everybody and welcome to this video. In the 2018 Examiners Report for AQA GCSE English Literature Paper 1, one of the headings under Advice for Students was Answer the Question. And this sounds so simple, and yet there are some complexities to it, and that's what I want to go through in this video. Now the first thing I'll say is that AQA did say you need to make sure you've read the question accurately and make sure you're answering the question you've chosen rather than the one that you would have preferred to be on the paper. And I think this is really important. You might know something really amazing about the text that you'd love to bring into your answer, but your primary objective in your exam is to answer the question. So if you have a great idea but it's not relevant to the question, you cannot write about it. It's no point in just writing something really clever because you think, oh, this is a great idea. You've got to answer the question. The other thing AQA stated was that you should take time to think about and plan your answer, that it gives you time and space to gather your thoughts in terms of addressing the question and selecting appropriate references and details to support and develop your own interpretation of the text. And that's what I want to look at really in this video. You see, the assessment strategy for this qualification requires that every question must address the assessment objectives being assessed within it. So let's look at a typical question. This was one of the Macbeth questions from the exemplar papers we had a couple of years ago. You may have seen it before. It doesn't matter if you're studying Macbeth or not, but Macbeth is the most studied text, so I thought I'd use this question. But let me go through how this question is important. So there was an extract and then it said, starting with this speech, explain how far you think Shakespeare presents Lady Macbeth as a powerful woman. Write about how Shakespeare presents Lady Macbeth in the speech and how Shakespeare presents Lady Macbeth in the play as a whole. Now what you could do there is you could think, okay, I know what I'm going to write here, quick look at the extract and get writing. But the point the exam board are trying to make about the importance of the question is that the question does remind you of the assessment objectives. And let's look at how this question does that. First off, we have starting with this speech. This focuses you on the printed extract and enables you to address AO1 and AO2 with close reference to the text before widening the scope of your response to the play as a whole. Now this is really important. I mentioned it in the video yesterday that the 2018 Examiners Report for Paper 1 saw a correlation between how well the students could write about the wider text and how well they did in terms of marks. So you do need to know your text inside out. Yes, you need to analyse the extract, but also the wider text, and it's absolutely essential that you do that. And we know it's a closed book exam, so you don't have that text there with you, so you do need to know the text really, really well, and I still recommend rereading those set texts, memorising key quotations that are well chosen, that it could apply to numerous questions. And you'll see in my revision songs playlist, I've chosen a number of quotations which I feel you could bring into a number of questions. There's no point in just remembering quotations that only apply to one moment or one character or one tiny idea. You want to choose quotations which you can apply to numerous examples. The next part of the question was explain how far you think, and this is addressing AO1 because it's asking for a response to an idea or a statement about an aspect of the play. I've got a video coming up in a couple of days where I look through all of the wordings of the questions we've had in the past papers so far and see what it tells us about how we might really focus our revision. And if you're asked how far, of course that is a specific wording. What do those two words, how far, really tell us? Why are they there? Why are they important? Well, the how far prompt enables us to construct evaluative responses which demonstrate our appreciation of the texts. So a little thing like that, the two words how far, if we didn't notice it because we just rushed in with our answer might not be as strong as it could be. The next part of the wording is Shakespeare presents. The focus on Shakespeare as the writer is there to remind you to think about the text as a conscious construct and thereby addressing AO2. So often we write about the characters as if they're real, the events in the plot as if it's real and how we respond to it. But these are constructed by writers, in this case Shakespeare, using language, using structure, using form. And this wording, how far Shakespeare presents, helps us to remember AO2. And then powerful woman links to AO3, ideas about context, where we might explore what we mean by power, as well as ideas about women within this context. So the wording of the question will be written in such a way that it is there to point you to remind you of the various assessment objectives in the question. Don't just look at the question and rush in, plan your answer. It is so important to plan your answer. The exam board do not take these things lightly. If it's in the examiner's report, it's a good thing for you to do it. So answer the question, read it carefully, read it accurately, take time to think about and plan your answer, be aware of the assessment objectives which are assessed, and good luck in your exam. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to the channel.